Hey there, it's Anders from Transforming ADHD. If you have ADHD or you have a child with the ADHD diagnosis, then you probably already know that having ADHD in 99% of the cases means that you have a lot of negative internal dialogue. You have a lot of negative inner self-talk that is holding you back, or if it's your child or your partner, you know that that's holding them back. Today I want to show you how you can transform your negative inner dialogue, your negative self-talk, into a more constructive inner dialogue and a constructive self-talk. You've probably been told how to handle this. Like every time you think negative thoughts, you want to also think positive thoughts. And while that is an effective way to build this, it's not really an effective way to stop being negative. So a lot of people are kind of gearing themselves up to be super positive about themselves, and it's working in some sense, but there's still this nagging negative shit going on in your mind that in some cases are like killing, like draining life out of the person. What we want to look at today is how can we take this and not only battle it or struggle with it or trying to overcome it in some way. We want to see how can we take the essence of this and turn it into something else. This is where the power of transforming ADHD from the inside comes into play. Because when you transform the negative into a positive, the negative is no longer there. The struggle, the overcoming, the powering through is not necessary anymore. So how do we do this? We do it first of all by realizing that this negative inner dialogue, this negative self-talk is coming from a part of your personality that you created yourself. This happened years ago, many years ago. Typically they're created between like 3, 4, 5 years old and up to about 10, 12 years old. And what happened back then was that some part of your mind, in your subconscious mind, probably you were never aware of this, but in your subconscious mind, there was some kind of outside feedback, like your dad was yelling at you and he made you do what you were supposed to do. Then to avoid him yelling at you ever again, you thought, your subconscious mind thought, wow, if I yell at myself, I'll behave. And you started yelling at yourself like your dad did. So you kind of incorporate the feedback patterns that have helped in some respect. Now this is, if it's a negative self-talk today, if it's negative inner dialogue today, typically it's some kind of negative feedback in the form of blame or yelling or cursing or degrading that have been accepted into your system by your subconscious mind because it worked. Now I do this because it only worked to a certain degree, and maybe it never worked after that. But your subconscious mind, while enormously flexible, it doesn't change patterns unless you tell it to. And by struggling or trying to overcome a pattern, you're not telling it to change. You're trying, really, actually what you're doing is you're telling it to fight harder. That's how our minds work. Doesn't come from me. So our minds are built to protect you. And if it has a pattern like this and you're trying to overcome it, it'll actually grow to power through your overcoming it. So the inner struggles are not very expedient for you. You don't want to do that. You want to address the pattern and transform it instead. So how do we do that? We do it first of all by realizing that this old pattern, the negative self-talk, was created by you to help you. So it has what we call a positive intention. When you think of this pattern as a helper, a part of you that's trying to help you, but it's doing it in a really shitty way. It's doing it in a very inexpedient way, if you will. It's still trying to help you, but it's like this little dumb helper that learned a strategy years ago and doesn't know how to learn a new one. So it hasn't learned a new one, and you haven't taught it one. Now what you can do is tell it how you would really like it to behave. You can think of this negative inner self-talk, this part of your personality, as an app that you installed years ago. So if you're 30 and you installed it 25 years ago, you're 5 years old, and for 25 years this app hasn't been updated. It's just chugging along, doing whatever it has been set up to do 25 years ago. Now you've changed so much over the years, and you now know this is not a very good way. It's not a very effective way for you to go through life. It's bad for your self-worth, it's bad for your confidence, and all these things. And you want it to change, but you haven't updated the app, so you can't change it. Now imagine, just for a second, that you could change this app. If you could just go into the menu and ask for an update. What would the update look like? Now that you know that this is a positive intention part of your personality that you built years ago, if you updated it to its current version, where it knows everything that you know about positive self-talk and appreciation of who you are and what you do, what would change about it? If you only just imagine that change happening, what would it be like if it even could be done? Most people say that then it stops being this negative voice. It becomes this supporting voice, typically your own voice. And often it goes from saying, you are this and that, to I am this and that. It doesn't have to, but oftentimes that's one of the transformations that people experience. Wow, so I am good enough, I can do this, or even you can do this. Some kind of supportive confidence builder on the positive side here. So this part is the same part, but it changes on its way to becoming a more effective part. And when people do this transformation on the inside of a part of the personality, they typically also have the experience that it goes from being that 5-year-old part to being this 30-year-old or like present day age part of the personality. Imagine for a second that you did this transformation in your mind, and you were able to bring that transformation into your mind, into your emotional state, and take that with you out in your daily life, in the real world. How would that transform your life? How would that affect your relationships with others and yourself? How would you go through life differently? Look at all the different ways that this would affect your life. And then imagine that it already did happen, and that you're already having that experience. And while you're at it, please go down in the comment section and tell me what that feels like, and I'll respond. If you had any difficulty with this exercise, this mind training, this mind hacking exercise, go down in the comments and write me a comment, and I'll see if I can twist it in a way so that it becomes easy for you to do. You can do this exercise as many times as you want and as many times as it feels right to you. You probably have more than one negative inner voice in there anyway, so you might as well take them all and make them positive. So the takeaway from this exercise that I hope you have or feel inside of you is that not only is the things that are not feeling very good inside of you, they're built by your subconscious mind with a positive intention. Also, they're incredibly flexible. You can transform these negative emotional states, inner voices, whatnot, inside of you in a matter of minutes. They're all transformable. If you want to know more about how I do this, and you want to experience building yourself up from the ground, transforming the things that are inside of you that are not working so well, be it negative states or just a lack of focus and priority, anything that's related to ADHD, and whatever else it might be that you're struggling with. Click on the link below this video and you'll get to a special video page where I'll walk you through a couple more exercises like this, and I'll give you access to a number of free resources that can help you learn more about who you are, how your mind works, and what you can do with it. Also, if you thought this video was interesting, relevant, and if you think that more people with negative inner voices, inner self-talk should be able to get access to this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and YouTube will make sure that more people see this if it's relevant to them. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon.